Good afternoon and welcome back to Westwood High School for Game 3 of this three-game series between the High Point University Panthers and the home team, the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm Brian Hanway, joined alongside by Graham Tuck. Graham, the bats were alive for High Point yesterday, especially in Game 2. Do you expect those live bats to translate into today's game?
Yeah, I think that that's the one thing that you can expect to be a given from this High Point team. I mean, every game that they've played this season, they come in with a 7-2 record, 3 of those forfeit wins. But in games that they've actually played, still 4-2 record, and they've scored at least 5 runs in all 6 of those games where they've come out to play and actually taken on a real opponent, the 3 forfeit wins against Campbell. But that being said, it was a 15-1 win in Game 2 and 6-3 in Game 1. The bats have been working for the Panthers all season long. The lineup today hasn't changed that much, and you got Brad Robinette on the mound today too, which is a great sign after what we saw from him in his first outing.
Absolutely. Robinette getting the start, the freshman from Chantilly, Virginia. Against Maryland, he pitched a complete game shutout. 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, 2 hits, and the win. Starting lineups for High Point go as followed, really similar to yesterday's 2 games. DeWitt will lead off playing center. First baseman Rowe batting second. Third is the left fielder Cush. Oswick's batting cleanup, playing second base. Nagel's batting fifth, playing third. Schmidt is the DH, batting sixth. Jake Savino is the right fielder, batting seventh. Batting eighth is the new catcher, James Smith. And James Harris, who had a stellar day at shortstop yesterday, is batting ninth.
Yeah, and I mentioned yesterday, I think that the only situation in which Brandon Tuttle would not play today is if there was that mercy rule yesterday. But what a day he had yesterday. Props to him. 6 RBIs on the day, I believe. A couple of extra base knocks. And you're going to see a new backstop today for the Panthers. But let's see what they can do here to start things off.
On the mound for South Carolina is Jackson Nabel, who is 0 for 1 on the year so far with a 7.88 ERA. He's given up. And DeWitt's going to lay down a bunt to start the game. Nabel throw is not in time, and DeWitt is going to reach on an infield single bunt to start the game for High Point.
Yeah, that is something that you've got to learn to expect from DeWitt. Every time he comes out, he is going to be a threat. It's a base hit every time, and he's so good at that bunt. Perfectly placed. I don't know that I've ever seen him lay one foul when you've got that in your arsenal, and to lead off the game too, you got to use it.
And now Brent Rowe, who had who had pretty good 2 games yesterday as well, driving in a couple runs, a couple base knocks for him. Nabel's throws not in time to first. And DeWitt has a set of wheels on him, as we were talking about today. I believe he had a couple stolen bases yesterday as well.
He did.
Nabel's going to come in from the stretch. And not in time. That was much closer that time.
That was a really good move. Also, shout out to Nabel on the mound wearing 00. That was my number all the way up until high school when my school didn't have a 00 jersey, so I had to stop wearing it, but love to see it.
And Rowe will take down 1 for ball 1. Rowe had 3 hits yesterday. 2 doubles, a single. He also had a sac fly. Down low again, ball 2. Rowe batted third yesterday, decided to move up in the lineup today. And for the third time, Nabel goes back over to DeWitt. High Point has to make some roster changes with the absence of Dan Savino, who went down yesterday after hurting his leg, rounding third.
Yeah, that was a rough scene over there on third base.
Rowe's going to pop this one out of play. Oliver Cush, the left fielder, on deck for High Point. His bat was active yesterday as well.
That it was. As were many of the Panthers.
Absolutely. And Rowe's going to take that one outside for strike 2. So the 2-2 count for Rowe. Ground ball over to third. Tries to throw two. The ball's going to go over the head of the first baseman, and Rowe's going to make it over safely to first, but they get the out at second, and there's one away for South Carolina.
Yeah, good slide by DeWitt, breaks up that potential double play. And now you still got a runner on for Cush.
Oliver Cush batted fifth yesterday. He's moved up to the 3 spot.
Yeah, he's used to being in that top 4. Did well in the 5 spot yesterday, but back to 3rd for this game.
And Cush is going to take the curveball in for strike 1. He had 2 hits in the first game. He had a sac fly in the next one. He had a hit also in the next game. So 3 hits for Oliver Cush yesterday. As Rowe leads off first in the 0-1. And Cush calls time. Nabel comes set, and the 0-1. Ground ball right up the middle, and another hit for Cush. Rowe will remain at second, and that is the 4th hit of the series for Oliver Cush.
Yeah, just good pieces of hitting. This one in particular just takes what he's given, puts it right back up the middle. Now you got a runner in scoring position for Oswick, who had that big fly yesterday.
Oswick 2 hits yesterday, both coming in the first. He has scored 3 times yesterday combined in the 2 games. So he's been very active on the base path.
I apologize.
Oswick's going to take that one in for strike 1. Looked a little high. He has 2 men on and 1 out.
Oswick playing second base again today. He's a natural shortstop, but with Harris back in the lineup, he's moved over to second. He played very well there yesterday.
Oswick ahead of that off-speed pitch for strike 2.
You got to know that's coming, especially in a cleanup spot. In situational baseball, you're going to get a lot more off-speed than you typically would.
Nabel up ahead, 0-2. Oswick's going to drive that in the right field for a base hit. And Rowe's going to be waved home, and the throw is in time.
Oh, but he missed
and the ball's
ball
out, so the Rowe is safe. And Cush is going to advance to second, so that's an RBI single for Brady Oswick. And High Point is up on the board early. They take an early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I don't know that that's going to go down as an RBI for Oswick with the error coming from Schrader because the throw beat him by a mile, but High Point's going to take the run regardless. And a good start offensively as we predicted, and Nagel with runners on the corners trying to keep things going.
Nagel had the lone home run yesterday, coming in the second game.
And that ball was crushed to dead center.
Yeah, that had to have been at least 380. And he's going to take that one down low for ball 1. Oswick leads off first. 1 out. Nabel comes set, and he's going to throw back. And he's out. Nabel picks off Oswick. A great dig at first base by McIntyre. And South Carolina has 2 away here in the top of the first.
Yeah, that pickoff attempt was perfectly placed. Just put it right there in the dirt in a spot where the runner's sliding back in. First baseman didn't even have to move his mitt after he caught it and made the tag. Great move.
And Nagel's going to take that one down low for ball 1. Ball 2. The runner on third and 2 outs.
See if Nagel can get another RBI here to add to his season total.
And that's going to hit the helmet of Nagel. And he is going to take his base. And that will bring up Schmidt, who was featured in the first game He pinched hit for Jake Savino, and he reached on a walk. He was also in the second game. He started the second game. He had 2 singles in the second game, and he's also scored twice. So another active bat in this lineup for High Point. Schmidt once again, runners on corners. And he's going to call time.
Schmidt came into this weekend as one of only 3 Panthers that was batting over 500. See if he can keep his great season going with this RBI chance.
Line drive, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. Nagel's going to round second. He's going to head to third. Kush scores, and High Point tags on another run, and they will take a 2-0 lead. An RBI single for Schmidt.
Yeah, and he just took, again, the same thing as that base hit up the middle earlier on. Just took what he was given, pulled that one down the line, and keeps runners on the corners for Jake Savino.
Savino originally wasn't supposed to start the game. He's going to line a base hit in the left field. Nagel scores easily. Schmidt's going to be held up at second. And another RBI single for the Panthers. This time it's Jake Savino.
Yeah, good stuff for him, making do with his brother out of the lineup today, stepping in, and like you said, wasn't slated to start. And now we're going to get a look at another guy who did not play yesterday. James Smith stepping in, see what he can do.
Smith's first game in the series. .333 batting average on the year. He's 2 for 6. Has a double. 3 RBIs. He's getting the start behind the dish in replace of the captain, Brandon Tuttle.
Tuttle had a couple of big hits yesterday, but none bigger than that bases clearing with the bases loaded RBI double down the left field line to give the Panthers the lead for good.
Nabel comes set. The 0-1. Foul ball. They're going to call it dead. He fouled it right off his foot.
Yeah, that one does not feel good.
And Smith's going to take a moment to himself. And he'll quickly get back up.
Yeah, I'm just going to give him a minute to walk this one off. And
That does not feel good.
no, it definitely does not. I was fortunate. I don't think that in all my years, I don't think I ever fouled one off my foot.
I have, many times. It does not feel good. Smith's down 0-2. Runners on first and second. Takes that one high, ball 1.
I like that spot, though, from a pitcher's perspective. 0-2 count, guy in the bottom of the order, try to get him to go upstairs with it.
Yeah, location's key, especially with times like this. A 1-2 in the dirt. Ball gets past, and both runners advance for High Point. So now with 2 runners in scoring position for James Smith. Two, 2 outs. Line drive into right center. That's going to go over the head of Losk. Both runners will score. Smith's rounding first, and that is a bases clearing double for James Smith. High Point takes a 5-0 lead.
That is a huge hit for Smith, the catcher spot. They've been batting in the 8-hole all weekend long. And he's going to get a courtesy runner here, but the power from the catcher spot, it's something that a lot of teams don't have. High Point definitely does.
It pays off when both catchers can rake for your team. And now Nabel's going to get a pitcher's conference on the mound as James Harris, the 9-hole hitter, will now dig in for High Point.
And Josh Keith is running for Smith at second base. First action he's gotten this weekend.
And I believe there is action in that South Carolina bullpen.
I mean, why wouldn't there be? 5-0 in the first inning.
I mean, in the last game, High Point batted around twice, once in the third and once in the fifth. And now they're doing it in the first inning of this game.
I mean, this is, I don't want to say what we expected, but coming from Nabel, I mean, he had not had a great appearance so far this season, an 0-run record. This is his third start with an ERA of almost 8. He's had allowed 13 hits through 8 innings coming into this one, and already 5 runs up in the first on him.
And Harris is going to take that one down low for ball 1.
And something about this Panthers team that you're seeing on display here in this first inning is how disciplined they are. Not many bad swings from this team, and when the ball's been in a hittable area, they're just taking it where it's given.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not really seeing them swing at a lot of bad pitches. I don't think any of them have really swung at anything
not really
bad so far in this game. Harris takes that one down low for ball 2, the 2-0. High, ball 3. So
and when you're disciplined like that, sorry, Brian, it just gets you in good counts like this where you're either drawing walks or getting hitters' counts where you can make something happen.
Harris ahead 3-0. And that's going to be inside for strike 1. Good take.
Absolutely, 3-0.
It's got to be on a silver platter if you want to swing at it. 3-1 to Harris. And Harris will get on with a walk, which now brings back up the leadoff hitter, Quinn DeWitt, who in his last at-bat reached on a bunt single. And he'll have runners on first and second with 2 outs.
I honestly would not be surprised to see another bunt laid down here from DeWitt.
If he puts that in the right spot, he can definitely dig it out. Fly ball left field. And that's going to be an easy one for Bouchard, and the side is officially retired. The bats are active here in South Carolina. 6 hits and 5 runs for High Point. We'll head to the bottom of the first. It's a 5-0 lead. Welcome back for Westwood High School. Here in South Carolina, a 5-0 High Point lead. The lineup goes as followed for South Carolina. Leading off and playing center field is Alexander Borda. Batting second is the third baseman, Colby Mikulecki. Batting third is the second baseman, Braden Clark. Fifth is the first baseman, Enzo McIntyre. Batting fifth in right field is Ryan Losk. The third baseman, batting sixth, is Konstantin Kustafis. Batting seventh is the designated hitter, Brendan Hines. Batting eighth is the second baseman, Mitchell Schrader. And batting ninth is the left fielder, Matthew Bouchard. And starting on the mound for High Point is Bradley Robinette, who, Graham, you mentioned earlier, pitched a phenomenal game against Maryland.
That he did, and everybody in this Panthers team is hoping that Brad can pull out another one for him today. The starting pitching has been phenomenal all season long, and Brad is a big part of that.
Border's going to take that one outside for ball one. And, Graham, you mentioned yesterday that you were really surprised that Border didn't start in either games for South Carolina.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised, but then again, when we talked about it ad nauseum yesterday, I mean, just the fact that the purpose of this Division II team for South Carolina is to get guys reps that they're ready, the younger guys for when they're called up to the D1 club team, so that may be part of the reason why.
And Border's going to lead things off with a base hit. Right up the middle. Robinette cannot get his glove on it, neither could Oswick, and South Carolina has their first base runner of the game.
So Robinette, the last time he came out on the bump a couple weekends ago against Maryland, he carried a no-hitter into the 5th inning, and today, leadoff guy gets on base.
Well, he's going to have to have Borda worry about Borda on the base path because, Graham, you mentioned yesterday, he was 9 for 9. He's going to take off stealing. Ground ball over third baseman. Nagel fields it cleanly. And Rowe's going to tag him on first, and there is out number one.
Yeah, but Borda got the second easily on the steal. And I'm honestly somewhat surprised that Borda didn't take a bigger turn at second base, trying to go to third on the throw to first. I'm sure it was in the back of his mind.
There was a High Point player who immediately ran over to third.
Yeah, that was Harris at shortstop.
Good heads up by him. And Robinette's going to try to minimize that lead from Borda because I bet he's not afraid to take off for third.
Not at all. Not at all, especially in a game where you're already down 5, but it's still early, still plenty of time.
And Clark's going to take that one in for strike one.
What an off-speed that was, my goodness.
Yeah, Robinette's really, really, he throws the curveball a decent amount. I mean, he's very confident in throwing it. It's one of his favorite pitches to throw, and we'll see a lot of them.
Not that time, though.
And Clark's going to take that one down low for ball one. 1-1 count. And Robinette brings a lot of energy on the mound. I think you saw that in the Maryland game last time.
Well, the thing that he's got going for him today is that he's already got a lot of run support before he ever even touched the rubber.
Border's going to take off for third. Smith's throw is not in time. Good pick there by Nagel, and that is 2 straight stolen bases for Alex Borda, making it 11 for 11.
And I think he had one yesterday, so make it 12 for 12. I mean, when you got a guy like that can get on base, and then, I mean, it's basically a free triple every time he gets on base.
Something that High Point has to keep an eye on and minimize him from getting on base. A runner on third and 1 out. Ground ball, that is fouled.
The break on that pitch. That looked like it was going to hit Clark in the numbers on the back. Broke into the zone. Forced Clark to swing and gets the strike out of it. Evens the count up.
Yeah, both Robinette and Nico Vasquez both have crazy good curveballs. They both break at the perfect spot. I mean, you saw that yesterday. Vasquez was throwing that pitch a lot. And he, again, like Robinette, he's extremely confident in throwing that pitch. The 2-2 count to Clark. 1 out, Border on third. He has 2 stolen bases already. And Clark will leave that upstairs for ball 3. He's up ahead, 3-2. On deck is the first baseman, McIntyre.
Ball in play probably scores a run here with only 1 out.
I think any ball. I mean, ground ball to first, I think, scores a run with Borda. Fly ball over to the first base side, and Rowe has it for out number 2.
That is the one thing you could not do. The one thing. An easy out, and now you got 2 outs. So you got to get a base hit here if you're McIntyre in order to score a run.
McIntyre did start the first game at shortstop. He shifts over to first base. He was 0 for 4 with a strikeout and 3 flyouts. He has to start today at first. And Robinette throws that in there for strike 1.
Yeah, John Arminio got the start at first base yesterday, and he was fantastic in the field. Made a couple of plays that kept South Carolina in that first game, but just abysmal day at the plate for him. He went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts in game 1, and you got to replace that at the plate.
McIntyre fouls that back into the backstop, and now Robinette's ahead 0-2. Be interesting to see if he works that curveball or tries to go upstairs or down low at the feet. The 0-2 to McIntyre. Got him with the curveball. Strike 3. Robinette puts the sword back into his holster, and the side's retired. South Carolina leaves one on at third. We'll head to the top of the second. It's a 5-0 High Point lead. So South Carolina with the early pitching change. And unfortunately, we cannot get the number of this player, so we have an unknown pitcher on the mound for South Carolina.
It's club baseball for you, baby.
Rowe will lead things off, and he takes that one in for strike 1. The stats for Nabel go as followed. 1 inning pitched, 6 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned, 1 walk, no strikeouts, and 1 hit batter. So South Carolina digging into their bullpen early on this game. Rowe takes that one down low for ball 1. Ground ball over to the second baseman. And that is out number 1 as Clark fields that cleanly. Now Oliver Cush will dig into the batter's box. He had an RBI single his last at bat. He also scored a run. One of the 5 runs that High Point had last inning. Line drive and caught by the shortstop.
That was a scorcher. There might be a couple extra tattoos on that ball by the time they get it back to the mound, but a good play by the shortstop there.
Mikulecki was the one who made the play. And now the High Point second baseman, Brady Oswick, will now dig in. Oswick had a single his last at-bat, but was picked off by Nabel, the starter for South Carolina. And that Oswick fouls that pitch off. The 0-1 to Oswick. Down low again, ball one.
And the confidence that High Point is playing with at the plate is evident. I mean, sitting on that first pitch off speed for Oswick to try to turn on it and put it over the fence. And he did it again right there.
Yep, he's looking for that pitch. Oswick down 1-2. 2 outs, nobody on. Fly ball left field. Back to the wall. That ball is gone. The second home run of the series for High Point. Oswick's first of the year, and High Point's back on the board.
What did I tell you? He was looking for it. He finally got that pitch. I mean, all three of his swings were to put that ball in exactly that spot.
Oh, those celebrations. Oswick's second RBI of the game. He had an RBI single his last at bat. And now it will be the third baseman, Drew Nagel.
And that ruins what could have been a fantastic inning, defensively speaking, for the Gamecocks. I mean, they were making quick work of the middle of High Point's order, and then Oswick had other ideas.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get their first 1-2-3 inning in a while. Nagel's going to take that one down low for ball one. He had the other home run yesterday. The 1-0. Down low again, ball two. And Nagel's going to take that one in for strike one. So we have a last name for the pitcher. It is Bentz, who is pitching for South Carolina. We'll soon try to figure out his first name in just a moment. And the off speed is down in the dirt for ball two. Ball three, excuse me. Thank you, Graham.
You're welcome.
So a 3-1 count to Nagel. 2 outs, nobody on.
And Schmidt on deck.
Swing and a miss. Strike two.
He was trying to go back-to-back with Oswick. That was the pitch to do it on, just missed it.
Yeah, that was a good pitch to tee off on. Full count to Nagel. Got him, called strike three. Catcher drops it. Clean throw to first is in time, and the side is retired. High Point does get one more run as we head to the bottom of the second inning. It's a 6-0 Panther lead. Welcome back. Bottom of the second inning. High Point has a commanding 6-0 lead over the Gamecocks. Ryan Losk, the right fielder, will lead things off for the Gamecocks. Robinette's still out there and going on strong.
Only 13 pitches in that first inning.
Losk takes that in for strike one. There's that curveball again, Graham.
Ugh. So much break on it. And again, in the heart of the order, you got to be expecting that pitch.
Swing and a miss again. He went back to it. And now Losk is down 0-2. Losk 1 for 2 yesterday. He scored the lone run in the second game. Got him. Strike 3. Caught him looking this time. Went to the heater. And there's one away.
I mean, the pitch sequencing there was just unreal. I mean, he got the first pitch goes inside, goes from inside back out towards the heart of the plate to a right-handed batter. Then he throws the same pitch, gets him to fish at it in the opposite batter's box, and then the heater to finish it off.
Robinette sinks that one in for strike 1. It's the third baseman, Kustafis.
And Robinette is doing the same thing that Vasquez did in Game 2 yesterday. He is not playing around with the strike zone early on in counts. He's trying to get ahead and pound the zone early and often.
Takes that one down low for ball 1. Kustafis did not play in yesterday's games. His first plate appearance of the series. Holds back, and it's ball 2. Do 1 count. Ooh. Another nasty curveball. It looked like it was going to hit him in the helmet. Instead, dropped right in the strike zone. 2-2 count. Robinette from the windup. Got him again. Bye-bye, strike 3. That's his third of the game. Take a stroll. Bradley Robinette.
And the dugout called it before either you or the home plate umpire did. Everybody knew that pitch was coming, and he doesn't miss with it. I mean, it's one thing to have the break on it every time, but to be able to hit locations like Robinette has been so far today is just unreal.
Third straight pitch, he went back to it. Strike 1, and now it's Brendan Hines, the designated hitter. Hines was featured in the second game. He went 1 for 2 with a walk. And Robinette got a little too carried away and was outside for ball 1. In there for strike 2. And it's a 1-2 count.
Just one pitch away from striking out the side. It's been a great inning for Brad.
Got him again. Strike 3, and Robinette strikes out the side, cradles him to bed, and the side is retired. We'll head to the top of the third inning. High Point with a 6-0 lead. And welcome back to the top of the third inning. Brad Schmidt will lead things off for High Point. He had an RBI single his last at-bat. Also scored a run. And Schmidt takes that one down low for ball one.
Schmidt, Savino, and Harris do up this inning for High Point.
Ground ball. That is a dead ball.
Guess fouled it.
Yeah, fouled it right off home plate. So Bentz is the pitcher for South Carolina. That's the only name we got for him. One count to Schmidt. Ground ball over the shortstop. McCleskey fields it cleanly over to first in time for out number one.
Yeah, one thing we've seen so far today that we did not see yesterday, it's been a really good day so far defensively for both teams. A lot of errors both sides yesterday, so clean fielding-wise is a plus for both coaches.
I believe there has not been an error so far, except for that play at the plate where
right, that was
catcher,
the one.
Schrader was the catcher for South Carolina who dropped the ball at the plate. Savino fouls this one back to us. His last at bat off of the first pitch, he drilled one down the left field line for an RBI single. He was the last runner who scored for High Point. He was the fifth run scored. Fly ball center field. And will be caught by Borda. And that's out number two. And now I'll bring up the catcher, James Smith, who had a bases-clearing double his last at-bat.
Yeah, since coming in, Bentz has made quick work of the Panthers. I mean, obviously the home run to Oswick, but outside of that, he has been very, very strong in relief after what looked like the Panthers were going to just jump out all over. I mean, they did with the 5-run first inning, but it's been quiet since then outside of the home run.
The home run is the only hit that Bentz has let up, as Smith takes that one down low for ball one.
Yeah, down low is an understatement. That one barely made it to the dirt.
Two outs, nobody on. Last time that happened to High Point, Brady Oswick hit a home run to left field. And Bentz drops a curveball in there for strike one.
Yeah, that one had a lot of breaks. Straight 12-6. Thought that Harris might have sat back and tried to turn on it, but
swing and a miss, strike two.
Yeah, he tried to turn on that one, and it had a little bit more break on it than he was looking for.
A little bit lower than the last one. Great location by Bentz. And now Smith's down 1-2 in the count. Bentz from the windup, the 1-2. In the dirt again. Only a 2-2 count. Two outs, nobody on. In there, ball three.
Yeah, great way to fight back into this count by Smith. You got Harris on deck, and we've seen him have a couple of good hits so far this weekend, and then the top of the order after him. Got to try to keep something going here.
Full count, and Smith forces a walk, and that will be his second time he will reach on base in the game. And now we'll bring up the shortstop, James Harris, who had a big double his last game for High Point. Smoked that ball in the left field.
Just gotta try to get on base here. Keep the 2-out rally going, and High Point did it yesterday. See if they can replicate it here.
Josh Keith is the pitch runner for Smith. And Schrader will keep that in front of him as Harris leaves it in for the dirt.
Yeah, it looks like Bentz might be a little shaken up after falling. He got ahead in that count 1-2 before allowing the walk to Smith. He's having struggles finding the zone the last couple pitches. Didn't struggle there, though.
Smith will take that one in for strike one. Look to be right at the numbers. That's high up. High and outside for ball two. Top of the order's on deck for High Point. It's Quinn DeWitt. Curveball sneaks in there for strike two. And Benz took a page out of Robinette's book there.
Yeah, that he did. That one buckled the knees and came back into the zone. Big pitch here for each side.
2-2 for Harris. Line, ground ball right up the middle. Now sneak in for a base hit. Keith's going to stay at second, and James Harris has his second hit of the series.
That is a huge hit for Harris because it brings up the top of the order. You got DeWitt on. You got speed on second base with Keith. A hit could bring in a run and keep the momentum in favor of the Panthers here in the third.
Harris's fourth time getting on base in this three-game series. Fifth time getting on base in this three-game series between the two clubs. And DeWitt takes that one down low for ball one.
Brent Rowe on deck, the 2 spot.
Down low again in the dirt, ball two. Schrader doing a good job keeping that in front of him.
There is action in the South Carolina bullpen. Can't quite get a number out there.
I believe that's number 34, Cade Phillips.
On the year, he's got a 3.85 ERA and a 2-0 record.
And that curveball a little too high. Ball two.
Yeah, it's a little inside as well. DeWitt staying back out of the way of it.
That's one. That one's in there for strike one. 3-1 count. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. And the pitch. Chopper right up the middle. Mikulecki fields it cleanly, and he's safe at first. Another infield single for Quinn DeWitt. The wheels have been put on display early for High Point's leadoff hitter.
And he has just, all season long, the infield singles are coming early and often. He has a chance to beat out every single ball that he puts in play.
Brent Rowe, the first baseman, coming up to the plate. He's 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice. And Rowe takes that one outside for strike one.
Might have been a little bit farther outside than he liked, but with the type of pitches that South Carolina's been putting over the plate so far today, you're okay with taking that.
Benz tries to go back to that off speed, leaves it upstairs for ball one.
And you know that Rowe is the type of guy that wants to have that big hit with the bases loaded, but a walk is just as good here. You got to stay disciplined.
1-1 ground ball to Mikulecki again. He's going to go to first, and it is in time. Great pick over there at first by McIntyre, and High Point leads the bases loaded this inning. As we head to the bottom of the third, they still have a 6-0 lead. Welcome back, bottom of the third inning. High Point still has a 6-0 lead over South Carolina.
You got to keep momentum high if you're South Carolina here. I mean, you just had a big ground ball out to get out of a bases-loaded jam. Yeah, you've been struggling to get by Robinette, and that second inning was Robinette's best of the two that he's pitched. 3 backwards Ks to strike out the side he's dealing, but you got to stay in this because you are very much in this game if you're South Carolina.
Mitchell Schrader will lead things off, and he takes that one in for strike 1.
And down by 6. I'd like to see South Carolina start swinging at first pitches just a little bit more here.
Yeah, they just have to put something in play. Schrader does just that. Loops one in the right field for a base hit. Don't think I should have said that.
Yeah, you know what? It is what it is. It's a good piece of hitting. Pitch outside. He took it opposite field, drops it in for a single right in front of Jake Savino, and now you got a guy on for Bouchard with the top of the order on deck.
Schrader is the second base runner for South Carolina, and then we're going to get a pinch runner for him so we can get the gear back on.
Looks like it's going to be Matt Bonacore.
Number 81.
And I believe that he had a couple of steals yesterday. So keep an eye on the base paths.
Bonacore was 0 for 3 yesterday. And now we'll bring up Bouchard, the left fielder.
Well, that was close.
Just sneaks in there. That's
that was
a great
closer than it
move.
looked.
You know, all three starters for High Point have great moves, great pickoff moves. Bonacore takes that same lead, and he is going to be safe at first as Robinette's been picking on him.
And the reason he's picking on him is because even if you get this out, you've got Borda on deck. He had that leadoff single to start the game, and he stole second and third. So you've got a speed demon on the base paths coming up. Want to try to have 2 outs when he gets on deck, or when he gets up to the plate. And Bouchard thought that he had called time. He was not ready for that pitch, and Robinette just snuck it in. He's got a little smirk on his face, too.
The 0-1 to Bouchard. And Robinette's been picking on Bonacore over there at first.
Well, one thing that, even if you're not getting outs over there on pickoff moves, one thing that you are doing is preventing the base runner from leaning the opposite way.
On the stretch, that one's going to get past Smith.
That bounced and hit him in the helmet. He is a little shaken up. He's calling for time. That one bounced off the dirt and came up and hit him in the catcher's mask. It may have gotten through the mask because he's feeling up around the area of his left temple, maybe his ear.
Bonacore's going to make it safely to second. And Smith is shaken up a little bit. And the head coach for High Point is going to come in and check on him. Shard will have a 1-1 count.
Definitely got a little bit of a ring in the ears after that one, if nothing else.
Yeah, it looks like it hit him pretty hard, and the South Carolina's trainer's going to come out and check on him too. Well, if Smith can't go, they will have Tuttle.
We've got a couple of catchers, does High Point, in their arsenal that they can turn to. Worst comes to worst, but obviously I hope that Smith is okay.
Smith's been having a good day at the plate. He had a double, bases cleared double, and he also reached on a walk.
High Point's got 5 catchers on their roster. 4 that traveled this weekend. Brent Rowe, who's starting at first, he does play catcher as well. Jake Vittori, James Smith, obviously, and then Brandon Tuttle, who played yesterday.
So High Point can't dig into their bench. But Smith looks like he's going to be good to go. And Robinette will come back to the mound, and Bouchard will come back into the batter's box. With no outs and a runner on second. And your guy, Graham Borda, is on deck for South Carolina.
I call him my guy, but
really high on him.
I mean, I just love the fact that he's aggressive on the base paths. That is one thing that when you have the type of speed that he does, it's an instant threat because you don't see a lot of guys get thrown out at this level, especially when you're as fast as he is.
The 2-1 count as Bouchard let that one outside. Robinette tried to fit a curveball in there. And Robinette clearly showing that he was going to go to second there. No one was there covering the bag for High Point. A 2-1 count. Harris this time sneaking behind Bonacore. He's going to go back to his position. And that one's going to get past Smith. Wild pitch there. And now South Carolina has a runner on third and no outs.
This is easily the biggest threat that South Carolina has had in this game, especially with the top of the lineup coming up. You got the Meteor order about to get on deck as this inning progresses. You need a quick out here if you're Robinette.
3-1 count to Bouchard. Robinette from the stretch. Down in the dirt, and Bouchard forces a walk. First walk of the day, and now we'll bring up the leadoff man, Alexander Borda.
I'm kind of loving the Billie Jean walk-up song, I will say.
It's a bold move. I love that song. So now Borda will dig in. Nobody out, and runners on the corners.
Ooh.
And Robinette fits an off-speed in there, but that's going to be ball one.
Yeah, didn't quite come back down into the zone just enough.
Just a little high. Robinette for the stretch, runners on the corners. And the 1-0. Runner goes, and Smith will not throw over to second. And now South Carolina has two runners in scoring position. Past couple pitches, he's been having trouble finding the strike zone. Border up 2-0 on the count.
Coach Avery Bowles wants to call time. He's going to come out and have a talk. There is some action in the High Point pen. Looks like it's Semler Dietrich who's up and moving. He started that game against New River Community College back on March 1st. The fourth different pitcher to start a game this season for High Point. He's got a 0 ERA this season, but a 6.1 last year. Had a 3-1 record. And in that game against New River, pitched 3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, but it wasn't earned. 5-1 strikeout to walk ratio. So he is a guy that can come out of the bullpen and give you some big innings.
Well, you saw High Point digging into their bullpen in their last game with Donahue. Donahue pitched really well.
That he did.
Going into the game. And bullpens has been some of the issue, a little bit of an issue for High Point so far this year.
It was in the Maryland games, but since then.
And that's going to hit Border.
Ooh, boy.
So now the bases are loaded.
Well, the one bright side that you can draw out of that is because of the bases loaded situation, Borda's kind of stuck at first. He's got 2 guys in front of him, too, and that limits how far he can go on a base hit.
And now will be the shortstop, Michalewski. He's 0 for 3 with a walk in this series.
Big double play potential here. Corners are in, so you think they're going home for out number 1 if it gets hit to the corner spots.
Robinette leaves that down low for ball 1.
He just cannot find the strike zone right now. He had that massive second inning and then just came out for the third and hasn't been his frame so far.
The 1-0. In the dirt again, ball 2. Try to go to that curveball.
Well, and he was getting a lot of goofy swings and misses from South Carolina early on, and they've been much more disciplined here in the third. He's throwing those pitches that look like they're going to be strikes and then break outside the zone. It's not happening so far, not getting any offers.
2-0 count to Michalewski. And Robinette leaves that down in the dirt again for ball 3. Been having a real tough time finding the strike zone here. Michalewski up in the count 3-0. Robinette pitching from the stretch. High, ball 4. And that is the first earned run of the year for Bradley Robinette, coming off of a walk. And South Carolina will load the bases once more for Braden Clark.
Goes down as an RBI for Michalewski. Dietrich doesn't seem like he's in a rush out there in right field either.
And Robinette finds the strike zone there.
There you go. That is exactly what you needed if you're Robinette.
0-1 count to Clark. He comes set.
You're still just one pitch away from having 2 outs in this inning.
Absolutely. Down in the dirt again. Good stop by Smith. That was a 1-1 count. If he starts to find his groove, he's going to start to get outs.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to gain his confidence
That's
back
how Robinette's been all season.
1-1 count to Clark. Ground ball over to the first base side. Rowe's going to tag the bag. A run will score. And South Carolina has runners in second and third, and it is a 6-2 ball game. An RBI for Clark.
Yeah, only 1 out there is a tough break, but there wasn't really anything you can do. The speed from Borda, he got to third quickly. That's a tough throw across the diamond anyway. The run had practically already scored, and then your best chance was probably to get the tag at second. And Michalewski got there in time, so nothing happening there.
Enzo McIntyre grounds out to shortstop. What a play by Harris over to the first in time for out number 2. A run will score, and it is a 6-3 ball game. What a great play there over at shortstop from James Harris.
Yeah, that's the type of play where as an infielder, your chest gets a little tight because you see them lining up to pick that backhand, and there's the potential for that Olay type of play. Roger Dorn over there, but it tracked the ball into the glove perfectly, made a beautiful play at shortstop.
Robinette fits that curveball in for strike 1. A RBI will be credited to Enzo McIntyre, and now we'll bring up Ryan Losk. Got him there, strike 2. Either way, I thought that was a strike.
It might have been a little bit outside, but Losk definitely went around on that pitch.
Losk struck out looking his last at-bat, last inning. Harris calling it for up top. He takes down low for ball 1.
Yeah, that's a bad miss on Robinette. Smith sets up way up top, up at the letters.
I think he would have gotten him too.
Probably, but he just missed on the complete opposite side of the zone.
The 1-2 count. Got him again, strike 3. And that is Robinette's 5th strikeout of the game to end the inning. And we're going to head to the top of the 4th. South Carolina got some stuff going here. It is a 6-3 ball game. Welcome back to the top of the fourth inning. A 6-3 ball game. Welcome back to the top of the third inning, 6-3 ball game. Rowe will lead things off for High Point. That is Oliver Cush. My fault. Fly ball center field. Playable for Borda. Almost lost it in the sun. And Cush will go down with a fly out.
Yeah, and Coach Davis Schoner was saying yesterday, I mean, he said that this was one of the worst sun conditions that he has seen on a field so far this season. I mean, that being said, it is a young season, but it is definitely a factor out there. We saw it a factor with Cush yesterday, as he made a couple of errors out there in left field, but he's adjusted, and so is the rest of the team. But it's definitely tough to track out there.
Brady Oswick will now come up to the plate for his third at-bat of the game. His last one, he homered to left field for his first of the season. He takes that one in the dirt for ball 2.
That is one thing that High Point has in their arsenal that South Carolina does not. I mean, they have gone yard a couple of times this season, has High Point. Nobody on South Carolina's roster with a big fly yet this year.
Oswick takes that one down to the dirt again for ball 3. Well, the first home run of the series from Nagel, as we mentioned, was a shot. But High Point had 2 home runs previous. Big leg kick by Oswick, man. Anyways, Shane Musselman hit 2 home runs in a game against New River Community College. And was it ground ball over the short? And that's going to go right over the head of Mikulecki.
That's a tough hop.
Took off a really big hop. And that might go down as a hit for how hard it was hit.
I think it might, but it should have been a ground ball out. If you square that ball up just a little bit more over there at shortstop, I know you're trying to play through the ball and set up your momentum to give you a throw to first, but playing off to the side of that baseball gives you the opportunity to have it hop up over your glove and into the outfield instead of into the chest and down to the dirt.
Nagel takes that one down low for ball 1.
I say that like I didn't make that mistake so many times when I played baseball.
You and me both. 1-0 count to Nagel. And that's going to drop in for a base hit in the right center. Oswick's going to round second. He's going to stay at second. And Nagel will stroll his way over to first base. Back-to-back hits for High Point.
Yeah, that duo of Oswick and Nagel have been having themselves a series. And to be able to have that as your 4-5 is a luxury for sure. And now you got Schmidt coming up with an opportunity to make something happen here. Only 1 out and a runner in scoring position.
Brad Schmidt will dig into the batter's box. 2 on, no outs. Takes that one high and away for ball 1.
Dietrich has stopped warming up in the High Point bullpen.
And Schmidt almost let that hit him. Off-speed pitch from Bentz.
I would have thought about
count.
letting it hit me, knowing the situation, would have loaded the bases with only 1 out for Jake Savino, who's been hot lately.
And that one's going to drop in for a base hit. Oswick's going to be held up at third. And it loads the bases up for Jake Savino.
So essentially a walk there. Everybody advances 1 base, but a good hit there for Schmidt. I thought that Oswick could have potentially scored. I knew right away off the bat that was dropping, but he waited up just a little bit. Not quite as aggressive with the base running, but now an opportunity for Savino. But an opportunity for South Carolina as well. The double play could be in play for them to end the inning.
Savino already has an RBI today off of a single. He takes that one outside for strike 1.
Yeah, a little bit of a wider strike zone as this weekend has gone along, and that one caught the corner just barely. But those calls were they're still going both ways here, but those calls were balls earlier on in the game 1 yesterday.
A 1-1 count to Savino. Outside, the ball's going to get away from Schrader. Oswick's going to score standing up, and High Point has a 7-3 lead.
Oh, and like we said earlier in the pregame show, the offense was not going to be an issue today for the Panthers. Already here in inning number 4, you got 7 runs. They've matched 5 runs every game this season, and it just goes to show that no matter who's in the lineup, this team is going to produce.
Runners on second and third, 1 out. Savino takes that one outside. Ball gets away from Schrader, but Nagel will hold up at third. Both Schmidt and Nagel both advanced on that pass ball. Savino 1 for 2 on the day. 3-1 count. Bents from the stretch. And that is going to be fouled out of play.
That was probably ball 4.
James Smith, the catcher, on deck for High Point. Double play ball is out of effect, so we will get an at-bat.
Unless we get a tag attempt over there at third.
Full count to Savino. Fouled right back to us. You're lucky you had that barbed wire fence there, Grant.
Oh, yeah, and this window in front of me, too.
Full count to Savino. Fly ball popped straight up. Schrader can't see it, but Bentz does. And he makes the play for out number 2.
That's a tough break.
Especially for a pitcher. That's a great play there by Bentz.
It definitely is, but at the same time, Savino could have already been aboard. He swung on ball 4 up and in on the hands and ended up fouling it off to the first base side. He should have already been 90 feet over on first base. And instead, you got 2 outs with second and third for Smith.
James Smith has 2 RBIs so far on the day. He's also reached base both times. Reached on a walk his last at-bat. And he leaves that high up for ball 1. High Point trying to drive in more runs after they left the last inning with the bases loaded. They've already scored 1 so far. They can definitely do some more damage. A 2-0 count to Smith. High upstairs, ball 3.
Next pitch will be number 60 for Bentz since coming in to start the second inning.
Speaking of that, South Carolina does have action in their bullpen. Looks to be that there will be a new pitcher next inning. And Smith takes that one in for strike 1. Harris is on deck for High Point. He is 1 for 2 with a walk. Ground ball, and that's going to sneak in for a base hit. 1 will score, and Schmidt is going to be held up at third, and another RBI for James Smith. He is red hot today.
Yeah, that he is, and I like the decision to hold the runner at third by Coach Frazier over there at third base, because what that does is it puts runners on the corners for a red-hot James Harris, and you're going to have a pitching switch right here. So you got a runner 90 feet from scoring for a guy that's coming out of the bullpen for his first game action of the day. And like I said, Harris has been red-hot. Keith is going to be the courtesy runner at first, and we'll take a break while this new arm gets loose on the mound for the Gamecocks.
to the top of the fourth inning. A new pitcher for South Carolina is number 34, Cade Phillips. James Harris will keep things going as Keith takes off for second. The final pitching stats for Bents were 2 2/3, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, a walk, and a strikeout.
That being said, he is responsible for both runners that are in scoring position.
Let's see if High Point can add some more damage with the red-hot Harris on, with the red-hot Harris batting right now. Takes that high up. It's away from Schrader, but the runners will hold up. Now Harris is up 2-1 on the count. Almost hits him there. It's a 3-1 count. (3-1) to Harris. High up, ball 4. That is the second walk of the game. And now we'll load the bases up for the top of the order. It's Quinn DeWitt.
Okay, so I might be crazy here, but with Schmidt on third, I don't think that a squeeze is out of the question.
Well, we'll see if that happens here. DeWitt does have a set of wheels on him. He takes that one high and away for ball 1.
Well, the thing with this situation is not the wheels that DeWitt has, but it's the wheels that Schmidt has, because DeWitt is able to place that bunt so well every time. The play's going to be at the plate, but Schmidt has the wheels to make it a play.
Well, anything can happen here. They have wheels all around. Schmidt on third, Keith on second, Harris at first, and DeWitt at the plate. And that does hit him, and a run will score, which will be added to Bentz's earned run average. And it is a 9-3 ball game.
Another 2-out rally for High Point here.
So now Bentz currently has 4 runs to his name.
And the potential for one more, with Keith standing on third and Rowe at the plate. He's got some power for sure.
And an RBI will be added to DeWitt's stat sheet.
And the bench, the dugout, feeling it now for High Point.
Yeah, they just have so much confidence right now. All the confidence in the world with Rowe at the plate. Rowe swings and misses at that pitch for strike 1. The 1-1 to Rowe. Phillips comes set, and the pitch. Outside, ball 2.
Yeah, they are forcing Phillips to throw strikes, and so far he's not done a fantastic job of it, to be frank.
And with Rowe batting, this will be the second time in this game that High Point's batted around. 4th time in this series as Rowe swings and misses at that pitch for strike 2. Outside, ball 3. Phillips tried to get him to chase with that off speed.
That was a good pitch. It looked like it was going to be a strike and then broke, but the discipline from Rowe did not go chasing for it. The runner should be moving.
Fly ball, right field. He is under it, and the side is retired. So High Point will leave the bases loaded, but they do get a couple runs. As we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, it is a 9-3 Panthers lead. Welcome back. Bottom of the fourth inning. High Point has a 9-3 lead over the Gamecocks. Kustafis will lead off for South Carolina. He struck out his last at-bat. Back in the second inning. Robinette, after a rough inning last inning, will return to the mound. And he'll start off in the windup. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike one. There's that curveball again, Graham.
Yeah, I mean, if it's working for you the way it has for Robinette so far, why would you do anything else?
Struck out Kustafis on that very pitch last at bat. The 0-1. Got him again with that curveball. Strike two. I think he's realized that Kustafis is very uncomfortable with that pitch. He might attack him there again. Gets the sign, the windup, and the pitch. Threw it there again, ducks under it.
That's one of the first times I've seen him miss the location with the pitch that had that kind of break on it.
He's thrown 3 straight. Will he make it 4?
Yep.
Did there again. Got him. Strike 3. 4 straight curveballs to Kustafis. And that is Robinette's 6th strikeout of the game. Second to Kustafis. And now we'll bring up Hines, the designated hitter. That was another curveball there. That's 5 straight.
I mean, until South Carolina proves that they are able to hit it, you keep throwing it. That's the mindset.
Oh, of course. Another one there, and it is in for a strike.
You hear the oh my God from the High Point bullpen. It's just, no matter how many times you see it, it's so incredible to watch.
Again there, strike 2. Robinette has yet to throw a heater.
In this inning, for sure. I mean, he is. Only thing you can do is watch.
This time Hines fouls it off. That's 8 straight. It was a 1-2 count.
And now with that foul, it gives you the option to go to the off speed because it gets you guessing as a hitter as to what's coming next.
Robinette shakes the sign off and goes with this one. Heater. Just missed outside.
Ooh, that was a great spot.
After 8 straight, he finally goes to the heater. He doesn't get what he wants there. It is a 2-2 count to Hines. Got him there. Smith will tag him out, and that is strikeout number 7 for Robinette as he gets Hines swinging. 9 curveballs, 1 heater throughout this whole game, throughout this inning, excuse me.
Not a bad outing so far, and a good bounce-back inning for Robinette after the Gamecocks hung a crooked number up in the bottom of the third.
Robinette has the opportunity to strike out the side. If he gets Schrader here, he swings and misses at another curveball, strike 1. Last game against Maryland, he pitched. He had 7 strikeouts in the game. Through 4 innings, he has 7 right now. He gets Schrader swinging at the heater again for strike 2. There's an 0-2 count.
Here comes the curveball. 100% here it comes.
Smith sets up inside. Ground ball over to Harris. He'll field it cleanly. And that's out number 3. A 1-2-3 inning for High Point. Robinette strikes out 2. He makes Schrader ground out to short. We will head to the top of the 5th. High Point has a 9-3 lead. Welcome back. Top of the 5th inning. Oliver Cush will lead things off for High Point, as he did last inning. He's 1 for 3 on the day. He flew out to center his last at-bat. Phillips will remain on the mound for South Carolina. And Cush takes that outside for ball 1. As inside for ball 2. 2-0 count to Cush, who's had himself a pretty good series.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
And he will continue it with a base hit to left field.
I'd like to see the third baseman, Kalsoftis, just jump for that ball. That was definitely a catchable one. But for High Point, you'll take it. It's a free leadoff base hit.
Cush's second hit of the game.
And this is the murderer's row portion of the lineup for High Point. You got Cush, followed by Oswick and Nagel. A lot of power all the way up and down through this 3.
Oswick is 3 for 3 on the day, Graham. He had a missile over to short that went over the head of Michalewski his last at-bat.
Yep.
I gave him a hit on it, so that's going to be fouled over the South Carolina dugout. And Oswick will start off with a 0-1 count. Fly ball left field, playable. And the catch is made by Bouchard, and there's out number 1.
Yeah, just hit it right to the left fielder. That ball was pieced, but directly to where the catch was able to be made, and now you got an opportunity for Nagel. Try to make something happen here with Schmidt on deck.
Drew Nagel will dig in. He's 1 for 3 on the day with a hit by pitch. He has scored twice in this game. He fouls that one off. Caught right by the umpire. Phillips will go from the stretch. Cush leading off first. And he will throw in Cush's direction. Not in time. A 1 count to Nagel. And that one's outside for ball 1.
That slider had a ton of break on it.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice pitch, just didn't locate it in the right spot. Fly ball left field. That's going to be over the head of Bouchard. It's going to get by him. Cush is going to round second. He's going to head to third. He's likely going to be waved home. Nagel's going to stay at second. And that is an RBI double for Drew Nagel. It is a 10-3 ball game.
That ball was roped into left field, and it gets by Bouchard only because he laid out for it, gave his all to go after that ball, and didn't have the angle on it. And another big extra base hit for Nagel.
That is Nagel's second RBI of the game, I believe. And now we'll bring up Brad Schmidt. Takes that one outside for ball 1. A 1-0 count. Outside again, ball 2. Nagel leading off second. The 2-0. Outside again, ball 3. Schmidt is quickly up ahead 3-0. And there is action in the South Carolina bullpen as Schmidt pops that up. Gustafis will make the play at third, and that is out number 2. And I'll bring up Jake Savino. 1 for 3 on the day. He had an RBI single in the first inning. And he'll take that one in for strike one. Savino wasn't scheduled to start last game as he fouls that one right over us. But he made pretty good use to it. He went 1 for 3 with a walk yesterday. He had a double. He scored 3 times. And today he's had an RBI single and he's already scored once. So he's had himself a pretty good series.
I like this as a nice little comeback at bat for Phillips, especially the one before it as well. Gets the pop up and then gets ahead in the count early after a rough start to the inning.
1-2 and gets him on that curveball. And the side is retired. High Point leaves one on, but they did score one off of a RBI double from Drew Nagel. We will head to the bottom of the 5th inning. The Panthers have a 10-3 lead. Welcome back. Bottom of the 5th inning here in Westwood High School. 3-game series, game 3. High Point has already won the series and is going for the sweep today. And they are doing so as they have a 10-3 lead over South Carolina. Back-to-back games where they have scored double-digit runs.
Yeah, they jumped out to this early lead with 5 runs in the top of the first, and they have scored in every inning except for the third. 5 runs in the first, 1 in the second, none in the third, 3 in the 4th inning, and then 1 in the top of this inning, the 5th, as Robinette is back out for his 5th inning of work.
And with the exception of his 3rd inning, he has been dealing. He has 7 strikeouts, which has matched his season best as he fits that beauty of a curveball in for strike one.
Yeah, I mean, his K through 9 is just unreal right now. He's got 14 strikeouts on the season, and he's only pitched 11 full innings.
Robinette gets him swinging on that one for strike 2. And at one point, Graham, he threw 8 straight curveballs. And last inning, I think he threw 3 fastballs.
Yeah, I mean, that curveball is just borderline unhittable. Nobody did anything better than foul it off last inning.
The 1-2. Got him again. Strike 3. That's 8 on the day for Robinette. That's a new season high. And guess what pitch he threw there?
It's just a thing of beauty to watch him go to work with that curveball.
And now it's the top of the order. It is Alexander Borda. We'll dig in. He is one of the only 2 hits today for South Carolina. He led off this game with a leadoff single, and 2 stolen bases. Robinette deals him a curveball there and is outside for ball 1. And he is the only South Carolina hitter that Robinette has not gotten out. Deals him another one. Swings out of his shoes there. Strike 1. His last at bat, he was hit by a pitch in the 3rd inning.
Well, Borda came into this weekend 2nd on the team in hits. And you knew, just looking at the stats, that he was going to be a tough one to get out, and he has proved that so far this weekend.
A 2-1 count to Robinette. And the pitch. Fouled out of play. Now Robinette is at 2-2 with Borda here, with 1 away and nobody on.
There is an arm getting loose, and the High Point bullpen doesn't have a jersey on, though, so I'm not exactly sure who it is, but next pitch will be number 70 for Robinette.
Got him again, strike 3, number 9.
And he finally sits down Borda.
And it was another curveball. Got him looking at that one. There is an infield substitution I see over at first base. Cole Mitchell has checked into the game at first. He was there last inning. I forgot to make note of it, though. So High Point already digging into their bench. And now it is Mikulecki, the shortstop, coming up to the plate.
And I believe that Mitchell is due up in the next inning for High Point to come to the plate.
He will be the 4-hitter.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Brent Roseday is done.
Robinette deals him a curveball inside for ball 1. He 1-1 count. Swung out of his shoes there. Strike 2. 1-2, 2 outs, nobody on. Looking for his 3rd 1-2-3 inning with this pitch. And he fouls that out of play. Mikulecki almost drove that to right field.
That is, I think it's fair to say, that is the hardest hit ball that we have seen off of Robinette today. I mean, that ball was pieced. Just well foul behind on it.
The 1-2. Fouled again. Mikulecki's fighting him off. That's 3 foul balls. We'll be interested to see if he comes back out next inning. As you already mentioned, he's already around 70 pitches on the day through 5. Fly ball, left center, and DeWitt calls him off, and the side is retired. Another 1-2-3 inning for the Panthers. We will head to the top of the 6th inning. It is a 10-3 lead. Welcome back, top of the 6th inning. James Smith will lead things off for High Point. South Carolina's dug into their bench. They've made a number of subs. Braden Clark's moved over to third base. Dorsey will now be at first, and Delicate in right. And Wiseman is in at second base. That's all the subs we have for now. We'll let you know if we have more, as James Smith will take that one up high for ball 1.
8-9-1 due up for the Panthers this inning.
Smith flies that, and that will be out of play as it hits the High Point dugout. And he will be dealt with a 1-1 count. Smith's reached base in each of his at-bats. He is 2 for 3 with a walk, a double and a single. That is also credited to his name. And he takes that one in for ball 3.
There's still someone warming up in the High Point pen, but they've gone on a T-shirt and shorts, so
Might just be throwing a bullpen.
might just be throwing a bullpen. But we did see Semler Dietrich warming up earlier.
Fly ball left field.
Woo-hoo.
And that will be fielded by Bouchard, and there is out number 1.
That was a rip by Smith, but it just died in the air. That was loud contact, but right at the left fielder. Didn't quite get as far as I thought it would. Didn't have the elevation on it either.
Yeah, he's been getting his bat on the ball today. As I mentioned earlier, he already has 2 hits. And now we'll bring up another guy who is red hot, and that is James Harris. He has also reached base in his last 3 at-bats. He is 1 for 3 with 2 walks as he takes strike 1 from Phillips. And he takes that inside. Almost hit him there for ball 1. On deck is Quinn DeWitt, and through 6 innings, this will be his 5th at-bat. Harris holds back on that on the off-speed and leaves it upstairs for ball 2. The 2-1. Inside, ball 3. And as we were hoping earlier in the game that these bats were hoping to stay alive and translate today, Graham, they have just been doing just that.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that has been a trend for this High Point team, and that is a great thing to have when you're looking at it from a team perspective. You know that you're going to get run support no matter what kind of an outing that you have.
Harris took that one in for strike 2, and he's going to force his 3rd walk of the game. And for the 4th straight time, James Harris will reach first base.
And it brings up the top of the order. Might see if DeWitt tries to lay down a bunt to get a board for Mitchell.
As I mentioned earlier, this is DeWitt's 5th plate appearance today. He has started in each of these 3 games.
There is the
Runner
steal.
goes, and Harris is in there, safe.
That was really close, though. That was very, very close there at second base.
It was a great throw there by Schrader, the catcher for South Carolina.
And I personally think that Harris slid a little bit early on that play. Robbed himself of a chance. He just barely got to the bag in time.
So 1-0 count. Outside again, ball 2. That is the 2nd steal of the day for High Point, I believe. Nope, correction, that was the 1st steal. James Harris gets the 1st steal for High Point on the day. DeWitt rips that one into center field,
dropping.
and that's going to drop. Harris is going to be waved home, and he will score on an RBI single credited to Quinn DeWitt as James Harris slides into home plate. It is a 11-3 ball game.
So we're getting to the territory now where with only 1 out, High Point might try to load up here in the 6th. And then if they can hold the Gamecocks in the bottom of the inning, if they can score 2 more, that'd be the ball game.
So it brings up Cole Mitchell, who pinched hit in yesterday's game, also got some time in the field. He ripped a single into left field, his last at-bat in yesterday's game. Runner goes, and DeWitt will
that
make
left
it in
hand-
there in time.
That left hand saved him because he came off the base with his momentum.
So back-to-back stolen bases for High Point. Cole Mitchell's now dealing with a 1-0 count. Swings and misses on that one. That one was the other batter's box there.
And it's an 0-2 count now.
1-1 count to Mitchell. Nope, 0-2 count. Ground ball over to second base. Wiseman fields it cleanly and is in time. Runner advances, and it will be 2 away.
But now, like I said, Mitchell did a job there. He got DeWitt over to third for your 3, 4, 5 hitters. And Cush has been hot. Oswick has been hot. Nagel has been hot. Potential for a rally here.
Cush is 2 for 4 in this game. He has scored twice. Takes that one outside for strike 1. This is his 5th at-bat of the game. Oswick due up next, as you mentioned. Line drive in left field, and that will be another base hit for Cush. DeWitt scores, and it is a 12-3 ball game.
One guy is up in the South Carolina bullpen. Don't have a number yet. Wait for him to try to turn around, but we may see a pitching change here if it gets too much more out of hand. That was a nice little two-seamer.
Oswick takes that one in for strike 1. Fly ball right center field. And that one is dropping. Cush is going to be waved home. Oswick's going to round second. He's heading for third. And that is a play to the plate is not in time. That's an RBI triple for Brady Oswick. And Graham, he's a double away from the cycle.
That he is. I mean, an unreal day, unreal weekend for Brady Oswick in particular. And I believe that we have entered the territory of if the Gamecocks don't score in this bottom half of the inning, that'll be the ball game.
Now will be the second time where this game could end early for High Point. So our last game yesterday ended in 5 innings. I believe it was a 15-1 victory.
Yep, that is correct. 15-1 and then 6-3 in the first game.
So unfortunately, if South Carolina doesn't score, Oswick won't have an opportunity to go for the cycle.
That is assuming that this 2-out rally doesn't continue.
That is assuming.
An 0-2 count to Nagel looks slim, but
Nagel is 2 for 4 with a hit by pitch. He has 2 RBIs. Oswick just picked up his second of the day. That one's going to get away from Schrader.
the question now becomes, does Robinette come out to try to finish off the complete game?
Oh, I think he does.
He's still got his jersey on, no hoodie or anything, and the hoodie's typically the telltale sign that your day's done. But
High Point does have action in their bullpen, though.
Yep.
And Phillips is going to sneak that one in. Called. Strike 3, and the side is retired. High Point leaves 1 on, but they do score 3. We will head to the bottom of the 6th. We'll see if this game will be over. It is a 13-3 ball game. And welcome back. Bottom of the 6th inning here in Westwood High School. Brad Robinette will return to the mound to try and close this game out. The mercy rule has been put in place, as Graham stated earlier. A 13-3 High Point lead. And Clark will lead things off for South Carolina. And Levi Taylor and Delicate will be on deck for South Carolina as Clark takes that one upstairs for ball one.
It is Scott Samanchik who is warming up in the High Point bullpen. Number 0 in your programs.
And Clark fouls that one out of play. If Robinette does get out of this inning, this will be his second straight complete game on the season. So he is off to a great start to his High Point career as he deuces him a curveball there and fouls that one back to the backstop.
And that'll match his season high in pitches. He threw 78 in that complete game shutout of Maryland. Doesn't get the shutout here with 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd, but still going for the complete game.
Deals him a curveball. Clark flies that one in the right, and Savino loses it in the sun. Correction, that looks like it's DeMonte out in right field. So DeMonte will check into the game in right field, and he lost that one in the sun. And Clark is the first base runner of the inning for South Carolina.
Looks like Roshan Sundar is also starting to get loose for the Panthers. Number 27. That's only the 3rd hit of the day for South Carolina, if I'm correct.
That you are, Graham. First one for Clark as Taylor takes that in for strike one. Taylor checked into the game at first base. This is the first time we're seeing him in this 3-game series. That one's in the dirt, and Clark will advance to second. And now Taylor is now working with a 1-1 count.
So now you got a runner in scoring position with nobody out, and you are definitely in the area where you could score a run to extend this game to the 7th inning.
A 1-1 to Taylor. Deals him a curveball in there for strike 2.
And I think if you're Robinette, you just got to live on that curveball. Nobody's been able to touch it all game long. Sure, you've had a couple of walks, but those were really only in that 3rd inning. It's what got you to this point where you're on the cusp of a complete game. You got to go back to it.
Another pass ball gets by Smith, and Clark will advance to third. Now is a 2-2 count with a runner on third for Taylor and the coming batters that will come after him. Mentioned earlier, John and Delicate on deck for South Carolina. Taylor and Delicate and Wiseman have all checked into the game. 2-2 count. Wiseman is in the hole for South Carolina. Ground ball, and this game will continue on to the next inning. An RBI infield single for Levi Taylor, and is a 13-4 ball game.
And I thought that if we saw a run get scored, that might convince Coach Murphy and Coach Avery to pull Robinette and get Scott Samanchik into the game. But that being said, Robinette's still out there trying to get him through this inning probably.
Yeah, I assume they're going to let him finish the inning. And Delicate whiffs at that curveball for strike one.
I mean, the pitch count's up there at 86 now, as you can see on your screen. So
yeah, I assume he's not going to go in for the next inning.
This is the most pitches thrown in an outing by a High Point pitcher so far this season.
And rightfully so. I mean, he pitched a really good game today.
That he did. I mean, what is he at? 8 strikeouts? And a lot of them of the back. 9. A lot of them looking.
He had 3. He struck out the side in the second inning. All 3 of those strikeouts were looking. All backwards Ks. Undelicate goes there, and it is a strike 2, so it'll be a 1-2 count to him. With the runner on first and no outs. Taylor leads off first. In there, strike 3. There's strikeout number 10 on the day for Robinette.
No surprise, he's the first High Point pitcher to reach the 10K mark in a single game this season. I mean, he has been dealing, and he's the guy where, you know that that's what is going to happen. You can kind of take a load off defensively when he's on the mound because you know it's just going to be a day where he gets a lot of outs at the plate.
Ground ball over to third. Nagel turns 1. Got him! 5-4-3 double play for High Point to end this inning. South Carolina does get 1 across, so we will head to the top of the 7th. It is a 13-4 ball game. Welcome back. Top of the 7th inning. Brad Schmidt will lead things off for High Point. A new arm for South Carolina is number 51, Mac Watson.
Only got 1 appearance so far this season, pitched a full inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Starts off the day with a 1-0 count. Takes that out for ball 2. The final stats for Cade Phillips: he pitched 2 1/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. A 2-0 count to Schmidt. Outside again, ball 3 gets past Schrader. And now Schmidt is working with a 3-0 count. Schmidt's 5th at-bat of the game. He is 2 for 4 on the day, with 2 singles, one of them which was an RBI single, and he's also scored twice. And this time he will walk, and we'll bring up the right fielder, Vito Damati.
I believe that is the first 4-pitch walk that we've seen this entire weekend from either side.
I believe Robinette had one earlier in the game in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, you're right. He was struggling to find the zone there for a little bit. But by and large, we have seen a lot of good pitching so far this weekend.
This is Damati's 2nd plate appearance in the series. He had a RBI single in his 1 plate appearance in the last game, with a 15-1 victory. Now he's dealing with no on, runners, one on, nobody out. He almost gets hit there.
Yeah, that pitch was behind him. Yet to throw a strike is Watson.
And it is a 2-0 count here for DeMonte. Schmidt leads off first.
There you go.
And he sneaks one in there for strike one. DeMonte takes that one inside, strike two. 2-2 count. One on, nobody out. Schmidt goes, fly ball, left field. That one's smoked. Bouchard loses that in the sun, and that's going to drop in for a base hit.
Oh, DeMonte's going to be held to a single because Schmidt hadn't run.
And that is going to kill. And that might have been the longest single I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I saw one in high school that bounced off the top of the wall, and the guy thought it was gone. He was also 320 pounds, so he wasn't moving too quick either, but that is a brutal single. That might have scored a run.
James Smith will now dig in. His 5th plate appearance tonight. 2 plate appearances for DeMonte, 2 singles. And Smith takes that one in for strike one.
Good to see Watson starting to find his groove a little bit. I mean, he just gave up that long fly ball to DeMonte, but he's throwing pitches in the strike zone now, which is good to see. Well,
that one will not get past Schrader there. Ball one in the dirt. First and second, no outs. 1-1. In there, strike two. Smith's had himself a day. He's 2 for 4 with a walk. 2 RBIs. He had a bases clearing double in the first inning. Fly ball, left field again. Bouchard slips and doesn't make the catch. He loses it in the sun, and Schmidt will be holed up at third, and that is another single for the Panthers.
That's the second consecutive fly ball that he's lost in the sun out there.
And you saw that happen yesterday with Cush twice. Oh, I think it was 2 or 3 times it happened to Cush. So Bouchard is, as you said earlier, High Point's coach said that one of the worst sun-conditioned fields that he has ever been a part of. The sun has played a major factor in this series.
Yeah, it's really just in that left field though. And you got to keep in mind, I mean, this field is a high school field, which means that the games that are played on it typically aren't until much later in the day because you have to wait until school is out. So it's probably not, the sun probably not something that was thought of when this field was constructed in the way that it's angled.
1-1 count to Harris. 5th at bat of the game for him. Down low. Ball one. And Quinn DeWitt is on deck for High Point. 6 at bats for him today. A 2-1 count to Harris. Outside, gets it in there. Strike two. Very important. High Point has left a decent amount of runners on base today, and this is the second time today. Multiple, not the second, but. And Harris is going to strike out looking on that one as Mac Watson deuces him up there for out number 1. High Point has had a lot of bases left on today, Graham.
Yeah, that is not just today. All weekend long, stranding runners has been a struggle for this High Point team. I mean, they stranded the bases loaded a couple of times. They stranded 6 in scoring position alone in that first game. That only ended up being a 6-3 win. It could have been a lot more.
Now brings up Quinn DeWitt, center fielder, leadoff hitter. High Point's back at the top of the order. And DeWitt takes that outside for ball 2. 2-0 count to DeWitt. Bases loaded, 1 out. In there, strike 1. Umpire's starting to wind up his strike zone a little bit.
Looked a bit outside to me as well, but hey, you know what? We'll take it at this point. Bases loaded, down by 9. South Carolina needs all the calls they can get.
Line drive, and it is going to be played by Walitsky. They're not going to be able to turn 2. A run will score. They get the out at second, and that is an RBI fielder's choice there for Quinn DeWitt as Schmidt scores, and it will be a 14-4 ball game.
Okay, so I like that play initially to let the ball bounce on the soft liner to try to set up the double play ball. But you also got to know, you are not turning 2 when Quinn DeWitt is at the plate, especially not with the last out coming at first base. What should have happened there is you should have gone home first and then to third.
DeWitt steals. Cole Mitchell's going to ground that to the first baseman. Is he going to beat this out? Taylor's going to tag the bag, and the side is retired. So High Point strands 2. They score 1. We will head to the bottom of the 7th inning. South Carolina trails 14-4. Welcome back. Bottom of the 7th inning. It's crunch time for South Carolina as they trail 14-4. Bradley Robinette's day is officially over. High Point's going to go with the junior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's Griff Strain. Robinette's day, 6 inning pitches, 4 hits, 4 runs, 4 earned, 2 walks, 1 hit batsman, and Graham, 10 unbelievable strikeouts.
Yeah, I mean, just an unreal day for Robinette. It adds to his season total and a team high 17 Ks on the year through 13 innings. I mean, that's just unreal stuff for the freshman, and knowing that at this point he's the 3rd guy in your rotation. You got Knapp and Vasquez, who threw unbelievable games yesterday as well. So to have those 3 guys, and then Dietrich can also give you a good long outing as well if you need him to go in and start. But we got another guy who's had an unbelievable season on the mound right now, and Strain gets early action, first pitch.
And he's going to field that cleanly, throw on to first, and that's out number 1. First pitch to Hines is a grounder right back to the pitcher. And now Schrader's due up. Strain was featured in the first game. And in that game,
yeah, he only threw 1 inning, no hits, a strikeout, and a walk. He has yet to allow a run this season, earned or otherwise. He has been one of the better bullpen arms for the Panthers this season. Coming in, this is his 4th appearance. He's thrown 4 innings so far, now 4 1/3. 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, and 4 strikeouts.
He's going to let that one get away from him. That's ball 1. 1-1 count to Schrader. Schrader had one of the 4 hits today. And he gets hit there, supposedly. And he's going to take first base.
The one thing about Strain is that he is very, very comfortable working with runners on base. In every appearance now, all 4 appearances that he's made in relief for the Panthers this season, he has allowed a base runner in all of them. And so, or there's been a runner on base, he's either allowed to hit, walk a batter, hit somebody, but still no runs against him. So he is comfortable working in that spot where he's got to deal with base runners.
Colin McSherry's a new hitter for South Carolina. This is his first appearance in this 3-game series. He's going to foul that one down the third base foul line. McSherry hitting into the place for Bichard. He was 0 for 2 with a walk. Bichard also scored one of the 4 runs today. Schrader leads off first. Strain throws back and just misses him. Oh, 2 count to McSherry. Outside. Ball 1.
I like that spot in that count. 0-2, you got a guy that's coming fresh off the bench. Try to get him to chase on that pitch that looks like it's going to be a strike, then breaks outside.
Foul tipped. Smith couldn't hold on to it.
The other thing about that other pitch that he just threw trying to get McSherry to chase is if there is contact, it's either a foul ball or it's going to the right side of the infield for an easy double play.
1-2 count to McSherry. Runner on first and 1 out. Ooh, good pitch there by Strain.
And a better hold off by McSherry.
McSherry very disciplined there. The 2-2 count. Got him there with the curveball. Called. Strike 3. And now there's 2 gone. And we're going to get another pinch hitter here for Borda. We'll get a number here in a minute. But a new batter here for South Carolina.
Looks like it's going to be Matt Bonacor, I believe. And he was a courtesy runner earlier in the game, so he is allowed to re-enter.
Bonacor played in the last game. Almost gets hit there. Smith's going to go to first, and he's not in time. Bonacor was 0 for 3 last game. Grounded out twice, struck out swinging. Now he's going to get his 4th plate appearance with this at-bat. And this time he gets hit, and that's the 2nd hit batter that Strain has had this inning. Schrader will advance to 2nd. And we'll get Michalewski again for his 4th plate appearance. The most by any South Carolina batter today. 2 outs, runners on first and second. The pitch from Strain, curveball, foul. Michalewski's 0 for 3 with a walk. A 1 count, and Strain's going to go back to second. He's going to throw it into center field, though. But DeWitt is there to back it up. A little questionable right there. There wasn't really anybody over at second.
Yeah, nobody over at second. You got 2 outs and an 0-1 count to the guy at the plate.
Nonetheless, runners stay where they are. And that's going to get away from Smith, and both runners will advance this time. A 1-0 count to Mikulecki. Line drive, foul.
And that'll bring the Gamecocks down to their final strike in a 1-2 count.
1-2 count to Mikulecki. The pitch from Strain. Hits him again. That is 3 hit batters from Strain. And it'll bring Braden Clark to the plate now, which will load the bases with 2 outs.
Yeah, and Coach Murphy's going to come have a talk with Griff over there on the mound. And, I mean, this is just uncharacteristic of him. He doesn't have the control that he needs right now. There's nobody up in the pen. And you're down to your final out from a defensive standpoint. So at this point, with a 10-run lead, no point in pulling Strain. Let him try to work through this. But it is a very odd situation.
Braden Clark is due up. He's 1 for 3 with an RBI single today. He's also scored 1 of the 4 runs. So a little conference out there with Strain. Well, nonetheless, this was a successful trip for High Point.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you're about to finish off the sweep here, same as you did on South Carolina's home field last season. And for High Point, you advanced to 8-2 with a win today, and we saw this last season for High Point. They struggled right out of the gates, game 1, and last year it was game 1 that they lost. This year it was games 1 and 2 that they dropped to Maryland, but last year they won 18 straight after dropping game 1. This season they're going on a roll here. It'll be win number 4 in a row. 4 was yesterday, 5 will be today.
And Clark's going to take that one outside for ball 1. And hopefully High Point can move up a little bit in those national rankings.
Right, that's the goal with a win, with a sweep this weekend, and then you have an even bigger tilt next weekend with the conference games at Duke.
Ball's going to get away from Smith. A run will score, and it is a 14-5 ball game. And the runners will both advance over. So a 2-0 count to Clark with runners in scoring position.
There you go.
And Strain fits that one in there for strike 1.
That is the first run that Strain has given up this season.
In there again for strike 2. 2-2 count. Second and third. The pitch. Ground ball over to Nagel. Feels it cleanly, and the Panthers sweep the Gamecocks. Final score 14-5 here in Westwood, and as I said earlier, Graham, a successful business trip for the Panthers.
Right. They, as mentioned, they jumped to 8-2 on the season. They're sure to jump in the national rankings as well with a big sweep. And there you see the handshake line forming at home plate after these two teams have completed their season series with each other. And for High Point, this weekend was great, but your sights are set to next weekend with a big 3-game conference weekend at Duke University. Second year in a row that you've played them. And last season, it went well for High Point against Duke. They swept them on their home field. And, you know, you had Knapp, who started that first game. He's going to try to set the tone as well next weekend. He started the first game of the series this weekend against South Carolina. Started game 1 against Maryland back at the tail end of February. 4 hits, 3 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 1 strikeout for Knapp in that 9-3 win at Duke last season. But for the Panthers, you got to focus up, try to keep this winning streak going next weekend before you head into a loaded April schedule.
Once again, final score 14-5. Bradley Robinette was awarded the win, and Strain will get the save. The High Point will now head off to Raleigh-Durham to take on the Duke Blue Devils. I'm Brian Hanway alongside with Graham Tuck. We thank you guys for listening along, and we'll see you next weekend.